I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's a classmate of Saul's. And he apparently, he knows a friend who works at one of these agencies. I guess I can say EPA. We didn't do any of this over the phone, so can't be tracked. And he raised another issue that his friend had told him about this was creating. And as you dig into the stories, you start to realize it. So federal agencies received word from the Trump administration to clamp down on public information in social media. And it's not just public information. It's, in some instances, all communication outside of the entity. Now, understand that in the EPA, and frankly, I'm sure in every single agency that exists, certain jobs and certain projects are outsourced to contracting firms. And if you cannot contact them and you're in the middle of a project, all of a sudden everything falls apart. I mean, I have no doubt that if this goes on for another couple of days, you're going to see people lose their jobs in the private sector. Because some architecture firm that's building something, some build design firm, some inspection firm, some, IT firm, they can't afford to keep these people on payroll if they don't even know if things are going forward, if they're not even allowed to speak to the people who contracted them. It's limiting employees' ability to issue news releases, tweet, make policy pronouncements, or otherwise communicate with the outside world. It's seen in varying degrees to the EPA, the Departments of Interior, Transportation, Agriculture, Health and Human Services, places like the USDA. It's a dark time right now, said Liz Perchia, who headed EPA's Public Affairs Office during the Obama administration. People are nervous and they're scared about what they can and cannot do. They don't want to get in trouble and they want to do the right thing. People don't want to lose their jobs. Employees at Health and Human Services in the National Institutes of Health, this is a Politico piece, received emails telling them to halt external correspondence. This was meant, supposedly, according to the Trump administration officials, to halt all regulatory activity. The NIH said her agency was told to hold on publishing new rules or guidance in the Federal Register or other public forums and discussing them with public officials till the administration had an opportunity to review them. How long do you think that's going to be? At the EPA, the lockdown extends well beyond formal coordinating messaging. Aside from a block on any press releases and social media posts, a Monday memo circulated internally and obtained by Politico warned that EPA employees scheduled to speak at public events like conferences in the next month must alert Trump's team of temporary political appointees. Yesterday, maybe I guess it was on Monday, Michigan announced that the water in Flint is no longer filled with lead enough to be considered unsafe, according to EPA regulations. We have no way of knowing, as the public, if the EPA rose the threshold as to what was considered safe. People understand what I'm saying here? When the EPA changes its measure, and there's standards for everything, right? I mean, if you have a well water, you know this. You get your water tested once or twice every year or two. You get it back, it gives a list of potential contaminants in the water. And what the EPA has stated is the highest amount before it becomes unsafe. I don't know, 0.2 megagrams or whatever it is of arsenic is safe. Anything above that is not. Well, there's a number where the parts per gallon or liter become unsafe in terms of lead. The EPA could have determined we're going to raise that number. There's no public pronouncements of this. We will let Michigan know. We've been authorized to tell Michigan that, hey, you know, it was like 0.6 before. Well, it's 0.8. Oh, that's great, because we're at 0.7. We don't know. We have no way of knowing. Employees of the USDA, the Agricultural Research Service, received a memo from branch chief staff telling them that the release of documents included, but not limited to, news releases, photos, fact sheets, news feeds, and social media content would be held until further notice. I don't know what that means if they find, like, hey, there's some salmonella somewhere. There's been some pushback. People have been talking about the Twitter account of the Badlands National Park in South Dakota, which tweeted out stuff about climate change. It turns out, according to the agency, that it was a former employee who was not currently authorized to use the park's Twitter account. I don't know if that's the case or if somebody's just covering for somebody, but now the Trump administration probably knows that it's the bureaucrats, the professional bureaucrats who have been at these agencies, who actually are at these agencies because they're trying to fulfill the mission of the agencies, right? It's the Environmental Protection Agency. There is not a single member of the Trump administration who feels that they need to strengthen that mission. All of them start with the premise. Every single Trump appointee will start with the premise that this agency is overreaching. It is being overprotective of the environment. Every single appointee will believe that. And then, and go back, if you didn't listen to that Sam Bagnan-Stos's interview that we did, every one of those political appointees will find the ones in the agency who are the most dedicated to the mission of the agency, and they will make their lives a living hell until they leave. That's what's on the docket for our regulatory agencies. And that's even before the actual nominees get put in place. They're just trying to create obstacles to people doing their job. Right? This is just, we're just going to jam a pen, a stick in the works. When Scott Pruitt is head of EPA, he already has a game plan to completely tear the agency apart, to totally disempower the agency, to find the existing statutes that Congress has passed that have empowered the EPA to regulate gases, to regulate cars, to regulate coal-fired power plants, and then to fashion the arguments that say those statutes don't say how they've been interpreted up to this point, so that nobody can challenge them and make the EPA do their job. Betsy DeVos, the Secretary of Education, more or less the same thing. So that's what we're in for on the agency level. So all I can tell you is we're going to have like little moments of this.
See you in the commissary.
Okay. Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Over. Subscribe.